G'day, thanks for checking into the Breathless blog once again. In a nutshell this morning, I probably overdid it. I had every intent and purpose of going about my park run this morning just as a leisurely jog, but invariably that's turned into a thrash and tackle. So I'm a bit cooked at the moment, which will be making photographing soccer/football later on today very interesting. But today I want to have a quick little unload on something that I reckon every photographer, every creative person has ever come across in trying to produce some work or content, and that being creative block. Basically the lack of creative thoughts or inspiration, or turning up to your canvas or picking up a camera and just being like a bit blah. That used to really frustrate me. It still frustrates me when it pops up now and again, but if I can just give you a couple of tips that work for me, so that might help you out just with how you approach that. And from a photography perspective, I suppose. But tip number one I could give is, if you have access to prime lenses, right? So lenses that don't zoom by hand, you actually have to zoom with your feet. Just go out and shoot, pick one lens, walk out of the house, whether it's through some, creek and bushland like it's behind me at the moment, whether it's through a cityscape, through your own backyard, through your house. Pick a prime lens, go for a walk, right? Because I kind of liken sometimes zoom lenses to being a bit like the old two-step shuffle that I used to make famous when I was at school socials and dances, where sometimes zoom just becomes so easy. So in a two-step shuffle sense, all you do is just rock from one foot to the other because you can be lazy. Whereas I think if you go to a prime lens, it's like full-on Michael Jackson time because you can't stay still, right? It's like we're trying to push start or clutch start your creativity. So once you actually start to have to engage with your subject and what you're moving with and dancing with, if you like, I find that sometimes helps just to bring, something fresh or creative into it. So you're moving forward and back from side to side, you're going up and down. So I think that's really handy. Number two, just have a time or a day or a session where you just shoot on manual, all right? Let's not be lazy once again and just go to aperture mode or go to shutter speed mode, or even worse, auto or P. If you've got a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, these days they're fantastic, right? All the scientific fundamentals of photography are the same, whether you're using a $10,000 camera body or one for $400 from Cash Converters, right? It's the same mechanics. So get onto manual. So then you have ultimate control over your ISO, over your shutter speed, over your aperture. And I think once you have that mindset, then leads into tip number three, in that let's just have a play with underexposing and overexposing. Okay? So the general metering function that your camera is set to is to try and balance out pretty much like this phone is right now. Bright highlights in the picture, like the sky behind me, and also really dark shadowy bits, say into the water here or into the rocks. And it sort of just balances those out sometimes. Sometimes it overexposes, sometimes it underexposes. But if you get onto manual, we'll actually have a specific creative outset to go and right. If I'm going to go and shoot down an alleyway, what happens if I do just, underexpose it, make it really dark and moody? What happens if I try and overexpose it, make it bright and airy and clean? What else can I give you? I did have one before. Now, what was that? It's just escaped my mind. Serves me right for thrashing it out so hard. Oh, that's right. The first blogs that I've been doing is all about, story and connecting with emotion, that type of thing. But just for the sake of it, have a time where you just escape that. Just go and shoot something because it looks interesting. Go and shoot it because it's got a funny texture on it, or that the lines look really cool, or maybe the way that light comes through a window and backlights a subject looks really funny, or creative. So I think, and sometimes it's a pressure that I feel, especially when I'm, photographing people or weddings or things where I'm always trying to create that storytelling medium, is that, sometimes I do probably miss out on just some cool textural things. I know with myself, my photography tends to be a little bit wider in terms of what I'm trying to fit into a photograph. I like to have some background influence on the foreground, right? That's probably coming from a passion in some landscape stuff that it's evolved into my portraiture. But say like my mum, for example, she loves taking macro photography. And that's not to say that background elements don't become important in that, but you know, we could walk up to the same scene, for example, like right here, and I'd be trying to, you know, maybe go rule of thirds and compose, you know, where water and lines and stuff is, whereas mum's probably going to go and find this leaf and look at the lines and textures and how, you know, where the bugs chewed through it and where the bird poo is on it as well, whatever. But that's probably enough for now. But, you know, more than anything, it's just about picking up your camera, all right? And if it's hard and you become frustrated and it's just not working for you, then put it down, walk away, go and have a cup of coffee, have a nap, come back to it. Photography is always going to be there. It's not like something that you have to perfect in one setting or one shoot. Or while we're always seeking perfection, I don't think something will ever quite be perfect, because you know, generally we're our own harshest critics. So hopefully that just helps give a couple little things, practical things, and hopefully easy things that you can use to push start your creativity, give yourself a fresh outlook on what you're creating, and a little bit of enjoyment as well. So until next time, thanks again for stopping by thanks for stopping by the Breathless blog. And I've just been so chuffed and really sort of surprised a little bit of all the warm and kind feedback that I've received on this blog. So thank you very much to all those people. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I suppose as I set out, if it just connects with one person or resonates with one person, then it's certainly been all the worthwhile. So yeah, keep the feedback coming, keep some questions coming, and I'll check you next time. Over and out.